Before we are going to go into the basics of how to build the rock, paper, scissors application with code, let's think about it in a general term. So what do we need? We need to know what our choice was, and we need to know what the choice of the computer was to then find out who the winner was. Okay, and how do we do that? Well, the thing is, we need to store information about what our choice was. We need to store information about what the choice of the computer was. And we need to have a comparison as to what the computer's choice versus our choice was and who won. Okay, so that's basically it, right? Obviously, we need user input. So we need to know what we have entered, and we need to know what the computer has entered. So then we can combine these information to then, in the end, figure out who the winner was and display that information. So the flow of information is going to be quite simple. There's not too much going on, but that's good because we need to understand certain concepts along the way. We need to understand how to store data. Therefore, we're going to use variables. Then we need to understand how to store different types of data. Therefore, we're going to learn about data types. So for example, a number is a different data type than a text. And then there is this data type called Boolean, which allows us to store information about whether something is true or false, which is very, very important when you want to work with conditions, as we are going to do, because we have the condition of us choosing one, that could be, for example, scissors, and a computer choosing two, which could be stone or rock. So that's pretty much the first thing. And then there is a condition which checks what is the relationship between those two. So who of those two is going to win? Is it going to be the stone or the rock, or is it going to be the scissors? So that's generally what we need to understand before we can start building this application. Now, obviously, we also need to understand how to get the user input and how to display the result. So all of these things is what we're going to now build up. And the first thing that we're going to start with are going to be variables. Okay, so variables are basically a way for us to store data inside of our program for the time being of the program being alive. Okay, so once our program is dead, meaning we turn off our app, for example, then the data is gone. So it's not going to be permanent storage, but for the lifetime of our application, we can store the data inside of a variable. So let's do that in the next video.